Hey, what's up, everyone? How you doing? Thank you for joining. We'll give people a little bit of time to arrive. This is yoga class 210 with me. Wow, yeah, amazing stuff, right? Well done for making it this far. If you have made it this far, I'm going to turn the comments on, so feel free to comment. Only nice things are accepted, though. I don't want you spamming me halfway through the class. You can put what you want. Well, not what you want, obviously, but but it's there for you. Remember all of the stuff I talk about. Yoga, I talk about a lot, obviously, but all of the amazing content that's available on the Virtual Village Hall through all the platforms. I'm not sure where you're watching this from. You might be streaming it live from YouTube. You might be coming from the Facebook page. There's lots of different ways to connect, right? But then if you want those little tidbits, little catch ups, see what's on every week, check out Instagram. I don't do TikTok. my screen disappeared for a little bit there when I said TikTok. But yeah, catch up, watch the stuff, maybe watch it live. Remember the things I've been talking about, getting in that regular, steady practice. And it doesn't have to be just my classes. It could be other people's classes. It don't have to be my classes at all, right? There's so much content on here. And if you pick 3 things, it doesn't always have to be the same thing. Do that every week. I promise you, your mental and your physical health will be a lot better. I'm not sure why I did that in a bit of a weird Cockney accent, but it will, right? Your mental and your physical health will really benefit from that. So I wholeheartedly encourage you to be kind of free and open to possibilities, even if stuff feels a bit like, oh, this is a bit weird, or I'm not very good at this. It's not important, right? We're not trying to be good. When people say to me, oh, I don't do yoga, I'm not very flexible, or I'm not very good at it, or I think I'm going to, make a fool of myself. It's impossible to do that, right? And sometimes we fall out of poses. That's just a laugh, right? As long as you don't hurt yourself, none of that matters. So, you practice from the privilege or you practice on the privilege of being able to do that from home. And that's a nice thing, right? Because if you do want it to be like a private practice, no one's watching, right? So it feels safe, hopefully, in lots of different ways. So we're going to do some of that stuff today. We're going to kind of move the body. We're going to move the breath. We'll see where we go. We'll spend plenty of time seated. So if you want to do a lot of it in the chair, go for it, right? You might have to adapt it. I'm not going to teach chair yoga today, but you guys will know what to do. And I'll give you a few little cues now and again. I wanted to start by just reading something. I've got this amazing book, and it's by this guy, Norman Blair. He's a yin yoga teacher. It's called A Book of Yin Wisdom, and these were free. He's been doing these for free recently, and he sent us a big stack of them, about 10. He's also got this amazing book, this one, Brightening Our Inner Skies, Yin and Yoga by Norman Blair, and I've just booked on to do some teacher training with him. I've also got this book, everyone. This one's very highbrow, A Beginner's Guide to Goat Yoga. Even opened this book. Let's have a look. Look at that. How cute is that? Beautiful. Look at those goats. I'm going to read that, I promise you. But anyway, from that little pamphlet, which was the wisdom, Yin Yoga wisdom books, some insights and philosophy and questions and reflections, right? And it's just beautiful. It really kind of resonates with me. It chimes with the way that I think. So thank you to Norman for being out there. And he says it's about practice. He says, this is very important. Regular bowel movements are more important than long hamstrings. I will say it again. Regular bowel movements are more important than long hamstrings. We ain't bothered about long hamstrings, right? But we do care whether you're pooping a lot. So that's a good one, right? He also says this: when we are in poses, we're not able to sweat or swear our way past our skeletal structures or skeletal structures. When we are in poses, we are not able to sweat or swear our way past our skeletal structures. So that's really important, isn't it? Because, our bodies are made up in a certain way. You've lived in your body in a certain way. So you might come to yoga and you might really force and strive and, I just want to get into this shape. Not important. What you want to be trying to do is to enjoy your practice, right? And that usually means not to strive. We call it the joyless strivers, when you must do it this way. You can't force the body. Your body is what it is, and it will change and it'll open, and it will go backwards and forwards and all that kind of stuff. But don't please don't try and force it. And then the final one, he says this: less struggle and strain, more softening and settling. It's an essence of yoga. He says yin yoga, but yoga in general. Less struggle and strain, more softening and settling. Should we do some softening and settling today? I am going to go back there. That's it. Check out his Instagram and all his socials. I'm going to do my little slide back onto my mat. I'm going to take my tea with me. And I'll let you into a little secret. I might have a little snooze after this class. I've got one more to teach after this one. And it's not until 6:30. So I've got some invoices to pay because it's the end of the month. And some invoices to raise. And some teachers to pay. And then I'm going to have a little snooze. You can see I'm sat on something. So I'm on this block. But you could have a book or a blanket. And then I just kind of perch my bottom on it. And I'll have a little wriggle around. It allows me to drop my knees down a little lower. That one's on the floor. That one's not. Doesn't matter, right? I'm a little bit unbalanced. Nothing wrong with that. But you might sit, you know, with the legs more like this. Or you might sit directly on the floor. Let's go. Let's do this yoga thing. We've been doing yoga. We've been chatting. Nothing wrong with that. All right. Bring the hands onto the knees. Draw some length into your spine. And then what I'll do is I'll be a little bit quiet for a bit. You can't do it, Dave. You can't be quiet. I can. And I did this on Monday. And I'm going to bring some focus. And my balcony door's open here. And I think I'm going to try and listen to some birds. Even though there's not a lot of birds around here, I'm going to try and listen out for it. So maybe you listen out for something in the mid or the far distance. And we'll come back in a minute or so. Just watching your breath here as you sit in this still meditative state, just noticing how your breath feels within your body. Maybe noticing the rhythm. And from here, just take another 2 or 3 more rounds of breath, something like that. No rush, no massive timeline, just take a few more breaths. And then maybe if your eyes are closed like mine, just slowly blink your eyes open. And you can move around. If you're sat on something like me, maybe stay on what you're sat on. Bring your legs out. Do it really slowly. Lean back into the hands and then just drop your knees either side. Unfortunately, I didn't hear any birds. I did on Monday and I was surprised because I live in the city centre and I don't hear a lot of birds around here. And I love bird song. You know, when I go and stay in the country, I'm in my van or I stop in a nice Airbnb somewhere. I love hearing the birds because I think I'm starved of bird sound in Leicester. Where are all the birds in Leicester, everyone? They're all down on the canal, but they're mainly pigeons and swans. I walk past a lot of them every day. All right, come back with your legs crossed. Bring your other shin in front if you can remember. And let's just work a little bit through the hands. So we were doing this stuff in my chair yoga class on Monday, and I think it's just a nice place to kind of begin just seated. So if you're in a chair, great. It's like stuff you did on Monday. Was it Monday? It was Tuesday. All right. So inhale the arms up, stretch out, and bring them to your shoulders. Exhale, bring the hands down. That's all you're going to do, right? Seems a little bit mild, but it will build. Inhale up. Exhale down. Float them down. Don't be kind of in a rush to bring them down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Maybe close your eyes and just kind of work out the simplicity of the movement with the breath. Inhaling up. Exhale down. 3 more. Inhale up. Exhale down. How does your breath serve the movement? Inhale up. Exhale down. Stay nice and relaxed through your jaw. 1 more. Inhale up. Exhale down. Beautiful. Bring the hands onto your knees and then just give your shoulders a little jiggle, little shake out. Don't have to do it in any particular way. You can kind of roll one shoulder to the other, shrug one up, shrug one down, roll them forwards, roll them backwards. Do this kind of thing. It's up to you. And then let's do that again. But what we'll do is we'll bring the hands all the way up. Okay. Doesn't mean that you have to bring the hands together. So let's see how this works. So inhale up. So you flip the palms up. I'm going to bring my hands together. Kind of feeling a little fruity. Exhale. Bring the hands down. Fruity is the wrong word. I didn't mean fruity. Kind of I'm feeling, like I could do that today. Inhale up. Sometimes my shoulders feel a little tight. They feel okay today. Exhale down. Nice. 3 more. Inhale up. Exhale down. 2 more. Inhale up. Exhale down. And then final time. Inhale up. And exhale down. Beautiful. And then just pause. Hands back on the knees. This time stay still. And just check in. Not huge movements, but certainly physical. And if you're not used to moving your arms a lot, you'll definitely feel this, right? You'll kind of maybe feel it tomorrow. Then there's an interesting thing happening within my body, which is a good case in point to see how things change. So when I bring my arms inhaling up and I exhale them down, my arms are coming down at pretty much the same, right? One's a little bit slower than the other. I'm not trying that, by the way. But a few months ago, or even a few weeks ago, my arms were really imbalanced. So something's happened where I got a little bit more balance back in my body. So it just shows you, right? Things change over time. I'm not been particularly focused on that. Something's happened, so I'm quite happy about that. All right, let's do it again, but this time let's do it with the palms face forward. Okay, so a little bit of a slightly different movement. And what you're going to do, you're going to bring the thumbs together. Give them a little wiggle. Inhale up. See if you can bring the thumbs together. Stretch out through the fingers. Exhale down. Beautiful. Inhale up. Exhale down. 3 more. Nice deep, rich inhales, full, releasing exhales. Final one. Inhale up. And exhale down. Beautiful. Bring the hands back onto the knees, palms face up, maybe close the eyes, check in. Now when I do that, I feel a little warmer, like my breath is beating away. It takes a reasonable amount of effort, right, to bring the arms up and down, kind of working into your body. And then we'll do that, the same kind of thing, but instead of the palms face forward, bring them back. So you do that little, in fact, let's just do that for a little bit of time. Notice how that feels. So you might kind of just rotate the hands backwards and forwards. They flip up, they flip back, they flip to the back of your room, and then they flip forward. Every time I do that, actually, I've got a little proper good click in this right shoulder. Oh, can you hear it? Listen to this. Oh, I wonder if that comes out on the camera. Whoosh. Doesn't hurt. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. There's certainly something there. I'll have a chat with my physio next time I see him. Nice. And then from here, bring the hands all the way back down and then inhale up. Nice. Exhale down. So the hands are pointing kind of towards the back of the room. Inhale up. Kind of bring the backs of the hands together, the fingertips. Exhale down. 2 more. Inhale up. Exhale down. And then final time. Inhaling up. And exhaling down. Beautiful. And then a little bit of Sufi grind. So we're going to move the hips out. We're going to circle the torso. So I'm going to come off what I'm sat on. So you might join me. And if you're not sat on anything, then maybe, you just bring the legs out. And probably beneficial to bring your other shin in front. I think it's nice to kind of swap the legs out. But this is all about, just accepting where your body is today. We're not kind of going to move loads today. We're just going to kind of bring enough movement in to enliven your body and hopefully enliven your spirit a little bit. You probably don't need your spirit enlivening. I think we all do from time to time, right? Okay, bring the hands onto the knees. Inhale the chest forward. Exhale round your spine. Pick a direction. It certainly doesn't matter which way you go. And you make these movements, as big or as small, as fast or as slow as feels good for you. So sometimes I'll sit, not very often, I must admit, but I do see a lot of people doing it this way, where they just kind of draw tiny little circles and they'll close their eyes and they'll kind of concentrate on the area around the belly. And you obviously feel this in the hips and the spine as well, but I like to go a little bit more expansive. So I'll bend into my elbows a bit more. You can swap it out when you're ready. I generally will inhale, I'll come back to center, I'll take a full exhale, and then I'll just swap the movement out. So I'll just come back the other way. And maybe one side feels, a little bit different to the other side. Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it takes a few kind of turns, a few rotations to get into the movement. But, whatever's working for you. Get into it. A couple more complete rotations and then inhale. Come back to center. Take a full exhale. Beautiful. Little bit of movement through your head. So if you wanted to, you can come to sit back. I'm going to move a little bit closer, actually, just because I can. You don't need to see my full body if I'm moving my head out. I just want to be, a little bit closer. All right, so I'm sat back on my little blue block. I like that blue block. It's comfortable. And when I sit on it, I just kind of perch right on the end. I'm not kind of sat back on it. Hands on the knees. Spine is long. So this is a good place to set up, right? And we can talk a little bit about alignment. You see my shoulders and my hips are lined up. And sometimes you can do this. You can kind of put your fingertips onto your hip points, these kind of knobbly hip points at the top. And then I think about how my shoulders are positioned. And even though I've got a clicky shoulder, they feel pretty aligned today. And then my head, look, it balances right on top. And this weighs about 5 kilograms. In fact, I've got a really big head, so it might weigh more than that. But, your head weighs is quite a heavy structure. So you want to feel as much balance as you can. I see a lot of people, they drop their heads down. And then if you put too much of a tilt in your head, your head weighs really heavily and it builds a lot of tension in your back and in your, back of your neck and shoulders. So this is a good place to start. Maybe rest the hands and then just drop your chin down. We'll kind of just start it the way we normally do it. So we just rock the chin. Nothing wrong with having the head forward now, because we're just beginning to move your head out. Maybe close your eyes, but certainly see if you can find, your jaw being really loose. And then if you wanted to, as normal, maybe you circle your head out. So you could pick a direction, inhale up, maybe exhale down. It's nice today. It started today. I got up, I taught a yoga class at 7 a.m. I walked to the Space to Breathe in Leicester, and not too far, 15 minutes, but it was raining quite hard at that point. And then this afternoon, I look out the window and it's pretty bright. And then a bit of cloud, a bit of gentle blue breeze. This is my kind of summer. What do you think it is today? Like 22 degrees, something like that? Oh yeah, that's my temperature. Don't want it any hotter than that. I also don't want it any colder, so I'm really hard to please. All right, come back the other way. You know, one way might feel different to the other. Again, this feels like there's a little more tension this side if I kind of rotate right side of my head, right side of my neck, I should say. So I'm just being really careful there. You know, I don't want to strain. Shoulders are relaxed, jaw is soft, face is nice and relaxed as well. And I'm breathing freely, right? I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. It's so good for us to breathe in this way. And then inhale, bring your head back to center. And then take a full exhale. And if your eyes are closed, come with your eyes open. Beautiful. Let's do a little twist from here. I might have to kind of adjust my arms a bit close. So inhale, sweep the arms up. That was fine. As you exhale, twist over to the right. So left hand on the right knee or the right thigh, right hand behind. Inhale to find length, exhale into your twist. And you know, you kind of move within this posture. Every inhale you find length, every exhale you twist. I'm going to tell you a little bit thing that I did at lunchtime today. If you know Leicester, some of you will, some of you won't. We have quite a big Roman heritage. It used to be called Rati Corataneum, Leicester was called when the Romans were here. And there's a museum called Jury Wall, which has been closed since 2013 or 2012, and it reopened last week. So me and my wife went to Jury Wall Museum. It's very good, actually. So if you're in Leicester, go to the Richard III Museum, go to the cathedral, go and check out his tomb, and then walk 5 minutes to Jury Wall, and you get a proper tourist experience in Leicester. There are tourists in Leicester, believe it or not. All right, inhale, come back to center, and then exhale, twist over towards the left. And I bought what I thought was a caramel shortbread slice, which I'm very partial to. And then it was soft. I was like, this is soft. There's no shortbread in this. I think it was Angel Delight. I think it was butterscotch Angel Delight. What's that all about? It wasn't unpleasant, but it wasn't what I was expecting. A couple more rounds of breath. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I would have thought you'd had a green juice, Dave, for lunch. No, I didn't have a green juice, but I did have something green earlier, I promise. All right, inhale, come back to center. As you exhale, see if you can forward fold. So you're just going to forward fold. I'm going to adjust my legs, actually, because that's too much. So I'm going to bring my legs kind of a little off the ground and have a little wriggle. Inhale to find length. And then exhale into a forward fold. So your hamstrings don't come into play here, right? You're not kind of forcing yourself down onto the floor. Maybe you just bring the hands out. They've disappeared a little bit off the camera, but you'll kind of get the gist. And then just have a little sway around. So that idea of what we were talking about, and Norman was talking about earlier, about less kind of like striving and trying to get past your muscular skeletal structure. It ain't going to happen. Not in this session anyway. It might over years and years of practice. Whether that's important or not, well, you know, the debate is out on that one, but just kind of work out where the body wants to go and kind of be on the lookout for any areas that feel tight, and adjust and wriggle and move, and be kind to yourself. Nice. Take one more round of breath. As you exhale, come all the way back. Nice work. Swap your legs out again. Sorry, that sounded a little bit directive, didn't it? Please, I invite you. Invite is a good word to use in yoga. And I also read something else. It said, if you go to a yoga class and the teacher says there's no options, it says there is, leave the class. So there's always options, right? And I'd like you to kind of bring those in. CatCow. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Clasp the hands, push them up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, around your spine. All right. So that's your movement. Inhale up. Exhale to round. So I tuck my navel back towards my spine and I really try and separate my shoulders. Inhaling up. Exhale to round. 3 more like that. Inhale up. Exhale. 2 more in your own time. Inhale up. Exhale, comb the arms down, nice and slowly. I'm just watching out for this shelf. And then bring the hands down. From here, we're going to come and stand. We're not going to do any sun salutation, doing no flow today, but we are going to do a few standing postures. So I invite you to stand. Now, remember, you can stand in lots of different ways. They talk about like being able to get up off the floor from just a seated position. I can't do it if my bottom's on the floor, but I can probably do it if I'm on a block. So give it a go. Maybe come up. Oof. Been sat for a long time there. Use something if that doesn't work, because if you're not used to it, it's probably really difficult to do. Come back onto your mat if you've moved off your mat. I'm just going to move my mat backwards just a little bit. Separate your feet and just have a little sway around it. Don't kind of worry about how you're moving here. Just kind of sway a little side to side. See what it feels like to kind of stand up, right? That can feel really different, can't it? You might kind of come onto the toes, whatever feels good. And then maybe turn this into a little bit more of a formal twisting action. So you can bring right hand on the heart, inhale left arm to the left, exhale right arm to the right. Inhale left, exhale right. Your choice though, you can make it a little bit more, oh, I'm just swaying around. I'm like a tree, Dave, in the wind, and this is all good. Or maybe you kind of make it a little bit more expansive. Let the head just go with the movement. We've kind of moved plenty through the head, I guess. So see how that feels. I like it. It's a nice movement through the torso. We've not done it for a little bit of time. And then slow it down if you're moving a little quicker. So it gets really slow. Here comes a yawn, everyone. And then inhale, come back to center. When you arrive, line your feet up so they're kind of square onto maybe the long edges of your mat if it's pointing this way, or the short edges of your mat if you're pointing that way. But your feet, your knees, your ankles are all lined up, and then take a full exhale. Beautiful. I got these as well. We're going to do a balance, but before a balance, I even got a map of Leicester. Look, it's nice, isn't it? Who uses maps these days? I still use maps. I use OS maps on my phone. That's an amazing invention. All right, let's do a little balance. Root down through your left foot. And then what you're going to do, we're just going to build this slowly. Remember, if you need a little bit of support, fingertip on the wall or on a shelf, something that will support you. Don't feel like you have to do a full balance. So I like to start with my hands on my hips. I'll root down through my left foot. I'll probably look at my left foot, bring a little bit of flex in the knee, and then I'll just lift up through my right foot. So that's all I'm doing, right? I'm just lifting my right foot, and I'm just noticing how that feels. You know, really kind of find that focus in the left leg. For me, my left leg is working quite hard, right? I can feel it. It's kind of tensing, it's releasing, it's tensing, it's releasing, it's wobbling a little. And then bring the right foot down, and then we'll just do that on the other side. And you might kind of just work out a little different side to side. So hands on the hips again. I think that's a nice place to start. Shoulders, hips, everything is lined up. Lift up through your left foot and see what happens there. Now already I know that this right leg and this right ankle, my right foot supports me a lot better than my left. So that's going to inform me what's going on with my left. A few things. Nothing to worry about too much, I don't think, but I've got a little weakness in that left ankle from straining it, from running over the years quite a few times, spraining it. Bit of plantar fasciitis in there as well. Bring that left foot down. Okay, let's go the other side. So on the left foot again, and then this time you maybe lift the right knee up. Yeah, and then if you want, you can make a basket grip around the right knee. So this is a little more, right? But it's a really nice way to align everything. So if you're hugging the knee and you can kind of roll your shoulders back, and then your shoulders are stacked right above your hips. And then think about your head. My head's probably a little far forward. So now I can kind of just gaze out of my balcony doors. We haven't really got a view. I've just got another building in front of me. It's all right. Nice. Maybe close the eyes. I haven't done that for ages. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to close my eyes, but I'm going to bring my arms out for a little counterbalance. And then this sort of thing happens, right? But that's all right. And it'll be interesting to see how that feels, because I haven't practiced with my eyes closed for ages. And it's still there, right? I can still balance. Exhale, bring the leg down. And we'll do that on the other side. You just got to be careful with that sort of stuff, right? Don't do it at the top of the stairs or anything. Okay, all right. Hands on the hips. Lift up through the left leg. Maybe basket grip around it. Breathe it out. Remember, you can always use the right arm hold on to something with your finger. Don't feel like you've got to. And if you fall out of these, which you probably will, if you haven't practiced balancing for ages or you just don't do it, then, you know, it's going to take time. And then maybe you do the close your eyes thing. See how you get on there. It's amazing how the brain will kind of allow you to do this. Not straight away, but it's a little bit like when I do poses like headstand. I don't do headstand a lot, but it's like riding a bike for me. I can just get back in it. And sometimes I go 3 or 4 months without doing a headstand. And then sometimes I need waking up. I'll do a headstand. That'll wake me up. All right. Beautiful. And then bring that left leg down. But, you know, the brain, it takes a little bit of time for the brain to catch up, but then it sort of embeds in the body, right? I believe that with things like running, where even though if I'm not running as much, my body remembers how to run. And I've got this kind of like, I don't know, in some ways like a built-in stamina. It's like the brain and the body kind of, they match up and they know what you're doing, right? So don't be hard on yourself if these things are really hard in terms of they're difficult, because I remember even when I was in my 20s and I was running, you know, and I'd go and stretch my calves out and I'd be standing here and I'd be like, oh, and I'd be like falling all over the place. And that's just because I never used to balance, right? But if I stretch my calf out now, I could hang out here for a long time because I'm a yogi. All right, let's do a little bit of paint the aura just to kind of shake it up one final time. What I'd like you to do is bend the knees. This doesn't have to be super powerful, but if you've got anything you're holding on to, any frustrations, hopefully it's not me, then you're going to let it go here. So you're going to inhale up, exhale down, inhale, exhale. Just be a little bit careful with this one. Don't get too excited. And if there's anything going on in your life that you feel really out of control with, or it's frustrating you, you feel sad, you feel kind of stuck in some way, let it out the mouth. 4 more. Inhale up. Exhale, comb the arms down, keep breathing, and maybe just gaze at one spot. I sometimes feel a little lightheaded there because you use a lot of energy. And then just come back with the hands face forward and just find stillness. Maybe you place one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly, and you just check in with your experience. Notice what you're noticing. And then what we'll do from here is we'll come back to seated. So I'm going to re-sit on something. Is that a word? Re-sit? Sit again? I'm not sure. Anyway, come back to a seated position. All right, everyone. 1 second. I've just got to do something here. Jackie's with us and Irene's with us. They're on Facebook. Thank you for joining on Facebook, you guys. It's always nice to have you along. All right, let's balance that out. By the way, that was called Paint the Aura, and I think it's a good one. You know, we get so stuck in our bodies, don't we? And we're kind of like, and tension kind of, it sort of builds, and we don't know how to express ourselves, and we're kind of, you know, we're worried about going out and shouting. Go out and shout. Do it in a park. Probably not when everyone's around, but you could do. I sometimes shout in the wind. That's quite nice. But it's a nice way, you know, when you're practicing. If someone just turned this stream on right now and they just went to that part of the class, they'd probably think it was really weird. But you guys know it's not weird, right? There's nothing weird about this at all. Okay, let's do a little bit of breath work. Alternate nostril breathing, because it's beautiful and it's balancing, and it'll be a nice way to kind of round off the practice. Right hand will be the one that comes into play, even though you could use your left. So I use my right because I'm right-handed, but you might want to use your left. I really don't mind. So you're going to block off your right nostril with your thumb, and you're going to inhale through your left nostril. Sit nice and tall. Close off your left nostril with your ring finger or little finger. I use my little finger. Exhale through the right. Inhale right. Close off right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close off left, exhale right. Inhaling right. Close off right, exhale left. Inhale left. Sorry, inhale right. And exhale left. I think I messed that up. So we'll go back to where we were. Inhaling through the left. Close off left, exhale right. I think we missed that one last time. Inhaling right. Close off right, exhale left. Inhaling left. Close off left, exhale right. Really notice the flow of your breath. You can really elongate it here, can't you? Inhale through the right. Close off right, exhale left. One more round. Inhale left. Close it off, exhale right. Inhale right. And final time, exhale left. And then you can bring your right hand down. And I'm going to stay here. I'm going to stay seated. But if you want to come to lie down for a couple of minutes, then, you be my guest. I don't want to disturb myself too much. And I feel relatively comfortable sat here. So you can join me seated, or you can come into Shavasana. And in a couple of minutes, I'll call you out of your Shavasana. Or you can stay there. It's your choice. I'm going to close my eyes and just end the practice how I started. Just being aware of the sounds and the sensations and the space that I create when I practice yoga with you guys. If you were down in Shavasana, then you might want to bring a little bit of movement back in. Maybe your fingers and your toes, maybe your ankles and your wrists. And feel free, if you're sat with me, to also bring some movements in. You can wriggle out for your fingers and your toes. Maybe your ankles and your wrists again. Maybe your head a little. Whatever feels good. Maybe a sigh. Oh, yawn. Oh, excuse me. And eventually we'll all meet in a seated position. Any seated position that feels good for you. And softening your hands to your heart, hands are in prayer, and just noticing the effects of your practice. You know, every time you practice, hopefully something different unfolds. But the most important thing is that you get onto your mat. Remember what Norman said? And then with a wholehearted bow, wishing yourself well and wishing everybody else well. Namaste. Thanks, you guys. Thank you so much for coming along. It was nice to practice this afternoon. I needed that. I always need a bit of yoga, but it's nice to do it in this format. It's nice to, it's nice to practice. Hi to Alan as well. Good old Alan. Cheers, Alan. I think Alan did my yin class on Monday. You did, didn't you? Thank you, mate. Space2breathe-collective.co.uk. It says it at the bottom. We're a not-for-profit yoga and wellness centre based in this fair East Midlands city of Leicester. If you are ever in Leicester, come and see us. We charge £30 a month for unlimited yoga because we want to make yoga more accessible to more people. And I think we're doing that. All right, everyone. Thank you, Jack. Nice to have you along. I'll be back next week. Chair yoga and this yoga. I think the chair yoga is on Tuesday. Usually is. Look out for it. Look out for the schedule that comes out at the start of the week. There's lots of amazing stuff on there. Have a great weekend, everyone. I'll see you all soon. Cheers. Namaste. Bye.